What is up, guys? It's your girl Faith, and I'm back with another video. I hope you guys are doing well. I thought to invite you today to get ready with me for date night and tell you guys the story of how Lano and I met. So I just woke up from a nap and I need to refresh my face. But I thought to mention that this is not a paid partnership or promotional video. I just thought to show you guys the products that I use in the process, as well as on a day-to-day as it pertains to like say the facial scrubs that I use. I just thought to show you guys the things that I use. I also should mention that I am not an expert makeup artist, if we could put it that way. I rarely do my makeup, so yeah, unless like there's some event, or as in this case date night, I don't typically do my makeup on a day-to-day, so you will notice that even how I go about doing my makeup is not as you would see a professional do it. I'm still a beginner, and so yeah, I thought you should bear that in mind. But yeah, all the products that I'm using are relatively affordable products. They are what do they call them, drugstore products, though I purchased them over Amazon. But yeah, they are relatively affordable products, from the makeup brushes to the makeup palettes themselves, and dare I say the scrubs. So yeah, that's something else to note. The other thing is I really like a natural looking makeup, if I could put it that way. I don't like things that stray too far from how I look. That's just what I appreciate. I also don't like heavy makeup because it feels heavy on my face, so I don't like that. So yeah, I don't really like something elaborate, but I've been trying new things, even as I learn makeup and what would suit my face and my skin tone. So yeah, anyway, I'm new to this, so please bear that in mind even as you see whatever it is I'm doing. I just do what I think works on my face, while I also explore different things like blush. So, but we'll see. So please just bear those things in mind as I get ready, and I now tell you this story. Okay, let's flash back to fall semester of 2019 at Andrews University. As part of my Gen Ed requirements, I took a class called Worldviews, Cultures, and Gods. This class was one of the most demanding classes I took in my time at AU, but also one of the most memorable classes I took there, because I genuinely learned a lot in the class, and I still remember a good chunk of what was taught. Another thing that made this class memorable is that I took it with 4 of my friends. I didn't know they would be taking the class though till day 1 of the class. I walked into class and sat in the back row with one of my friends. A mutual friend sitting in the row right in front of me then introduced me to Lano. My first thought was that he was good looking, but I didn't think too much beyond that. We spoke a few times during the duration of the class, primarily about the class. I remember he complimented me on my note-taking, and all I could think about was how I was just trying to survive through this class. The semester came to an end, and I was preparing to fly out to the UK for the winter break. However, I didn't have a ride to O'Hare International Airport in Chicago, which is approximately a 2-hour drive from Andrews University. I reached out to our mutual friend to see if he could help me find a means to get there, and he reached out to Lano, who had a car, to assist me. He agreed to give me a ride, which, as he told me that day, he usually didn't do given the distance in traffic in Chicago. I was very nervous. In addition to being good looking, Lano struck me as a very serious, mature, and reserved person. I already struggled in general social settings because I always felt the burden to initiate and carry a conversation. Now I was going to be alone, with a person I respected for his demeanor alone. I didn't want to say something silly that would make the entire 2-hour ride awkward. The day finally arrived though, and I tell you, that ride was the complete opposite of what I feared it would be. We clicked so well and had such a great conversation. One I still remember almost 5 years down the line now. We started off talking about the class, and I remember how scared I was that my overall GPA would drop because of the class. And he said something to me that made me feel so reassured that I didn't think about or worry about the grade again. That was significant to me because he managed to calm me down, and my mind actually responded. Unfortunately, many times the anxious thoughts in my mind would speak louder than reason. But that wasn't the case here. We then talked about our backgrounds, family, our personalities, and the things that have shaped us. It was amazing. We also talked about the UK, especially since Lano is from there. I left and came back in the new year for the spring semester. We spoke a few times in my time away, but then I got into a relationship that semester with our mutual friend. Lano also got into a relationship that same year. 2020 happened. We met again that summer when he did a photo shoot for one of my friend's birthday. I told him I was in a relationship with our mutual friend. Funny enough, a few hours later, my relationship came to its end. My birthday came around in July, and I wanted to do a photo shoot for my birthday as well. I reached out to him because he was an amazing photographer. We spoke about the breakup, and he gave me great advice on tools like journaling that I could use to help me express the hurt and pent-up emotions I felt, and the book Boundaries that I have talked about on this platform. He was a listening ear through that year. He shared his own experiences with heartbreak and relationships, which helped me navigate through my own hurt. I saw how he respected me, especially in the moments I was most vulnerable. He genuinely cared. He was a friend to me, and my respect for him grew even more. I had respect for his relationship as well. I was excited for him. I remember my best friend asking me about him when I told her how good of a friend he was to me during that painful time. But I assured her he was in a relationship and that he was just a friend. And I meant that. The next year, we barely spoke. I attributed that to school and the fact that he was in a relationship, which I respect. I don't know about you, but I have an unspoken thing with my male friends. I don't expect them to still be as available to me when they're in a relationship as when they are single. It doesn't bother me because that's how I respect their partners. So even in this case, it didn't bother me. I actually thought that I probably bombarded him with my heartache, and so he didn't want to talk to me for a while, which I still understood. But I came to learn months later that that was not the case at all. Fast forward to July 2021, I went back home to Zambia for the summer break, following a month of academic research. From the time of the breakup to that July at home, I had gone through therapy and intentional healing by the grace of God. For the first time since the breakup, I knew I was ready to start dating again. God revealed a lot to me about myself and relationships. I learned to take accountability for myself, and all these things helped guide how I would approach dating again. That summer, I had a conversation with one of my childhood friends about dating, and one of the things I recall saying is that I wanted someone who would be upfront with their intentions and say, "Faith, I would really like to get to know you better with the intent of pursuing a relationship." A week or so after, Lano reached out to me asking if we could talk via phone call. Now, we hadn't spoken in months, so I was happy to hear from him, especially since I was under the impression that I probably overwhelmed him with my sadness. We caught up on each other's lives, and he shared with me that he had ended his relationship with his then partner. This time, I had the opportunity to be the friend he was to me. We spoke again on a different occasion. This time, I noticed a change in our communication, mostly on his part. He asked me questions about my future career goals, my personality type as it pertains to whether or not I am more of an intuitive or a sensor, my love language. But what caught me by surprise was that I had just taken those tests a day before out of my own curiosity to learn more about myself. He had never asked me those questions to that detail and with such great intentionality. I knew something in our friendship had changed. The call ended. I had some time to think about it. I told my mom about it too. My first thought, he liked me and would potentially ask me out. Sometimes you just know, especially when you're accustomed to a certain way of communicating with a person. You just know. When something's changed, you know. I had the time to think to myself on whether he was someone I could see myself with, and if I would want to get to know him romantically. He requested another call, and I agreed. We spoke for hours, and towards the end of the call, he said, "Faith, I would like to get to know you better with the intent of pursuing a relationship, and I was wondering how you feel about that." It was what I told my friend. How amazing. Having thought about what my response would be, I told him. The feeling was mutual. He ended the call with a prayer, and I excitedly told my family. That was August 18th, 2021. We started talking. He eventually told me once we started talking that the reason why he went quiet shortly after the beginning of 2021 was because he realized how much chemistry we had and how close he felt to me in the times I would pour out my heart about my pain, in the times I cried. Having realized this and respecting his partner and relationship, he created that distance between us to work on his relationship. I respected that. Two years, 7 months, and 19 days later, he is the man I love and my person. It's been the best time. One of the very first things I got to know and love about him when we started talking is that Lano is very intentional about his personal growth. Every morsel of his space tells you that. He takes accountability for himself and knows what he deserves. He is so kind and loving. He has a heart to be cared for and treasured. Loving him is so easy and healthy, and I'm really grateful for that. God has really been kind and loving to us, and I'm thankful to be able to experience love in this capacity. So yeah, that is our story. Stay tuned for the final look. So remember how I mentioned earlier that I really like a more natural makeup look, or close to natural makeup look? When it comes to blush, I prefer a very light or subtle blush as opposed to one that is like very evident or it stands out like a very deep pink. that you could see from a distance. And of course, you could use like orange blush. I'm yet to try orange blush. But yeah, like I don't want something that is very evident from a distance, just because I typically don't get pink in the face. So yeah, I'd rather not have like a strong blush on my face. So yeah, I like it more subtle. But notice I also have two types of setting powder. So it's a little difficult to tell right off the bat, but there are two different shades. There's a lighter shade, which I use right under my eyes because I feel like I'm using a light concealer as is. So it's more so to highlight or maintain like the lighter areas of my face, which is under my eyes. And then I use the darker setting powder in the darker areas of my face. I feel like that in itself almost contours your face without you having to use like a darker concealer. But also I don't have like those facial features that I almost feel like concealer is for. I feel like it would look weird on my face because I've tried it, and maybe it's just that I haven't gotten it right yet. But yeah, I prefer using like a slightly darker, close to my complexion setting powder for the areas that are darker, and a lighter setting powder for the areas that are lighter. In a way, I think it, like in a subtle way, it contours your face a bit more, or my face rather, than an actual contour. Yeah, I feel like contour looks really weird on me. Maybe because I just don't know where to apply it on my face, but yeah. And now for my favorite part, the lips. I really like the NYX Butter Gloss combinations. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I really like them. This is, I think the brand is the darkest shade of their Butter Gloss, and yeah, a pink lip gloss, depending on your skin tone or what you feel looks best on you. This is the shade of pink I really like from their NYX Butter Gloss collection. And yeah, it's my go-to, my almost everyday look. I also have a lighter shade of brown if I'm going for like a full-on nude look. That is what I go for. I really like having two-tone lips, and so even when I do my lips, I like to retain that. I wouldn't change that for anything. But yeah, I really like this part. It is just so satisfying to me. I know I look casket ready right now. I know. But I promise you, it is the lighting. It is the lighting. I am using a ring light right now. White light, harsh white light. I promise you, I do not look as embalmed as I look right now in reality. I guarantee you that. This is more like it. This is more like it. See? Not as embalmed. And this was my final look. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what your love story is in the comment section. Till next time, bye.
The genre and nothing that's gonna happen to you.